What's raging, gamers? Good morning, HenricK the Wreck. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, Chris?
Oh, man, everything's good. When I'm with you, my boy, everything's Louis Vuitton because, I am excited to be talking all things gaming. And, we might as well set the tone right now. There was a lot of unhappy PC gamers over the weekend, as you can clearly see. The Last of Us Part 1 had a very rocky launch, as you can clearly see. Tess looks like she's still in her skeleton pose, when the the actress was in the studio trying to record her scene. Uh this is totally unacceptable. And HenricK, before I even bring you on into the mix, we had some awesome, very funny comments about this, and one of them was the least of us. Second one said, for those of y'all on PC, there's a file you can download to improve performance. It's called the PS5. And number 3, maybe they should have played it on 3 different PlayStations over the last decade. So do you feel attacked, HenricK? I mean, you are the one that's the PC gamer. I don't know how expensive your rig is, but
I mean, my rig is pretty expensive. It's a like $3,000 computer at least.
That's
but
what I'm saying.
I still think it's unacceptable, even if they're playing it at a really low setting. Like, it shouldn't look like that.
Exactly.
Really
have we not learned anything from CD Projekt Red? I mean, with Cyberpunk 2077,
Exactly. It's just as bad.
it's insane. And I mean, I know for myself personally, I'd be definitely raging out too. And if I know some people feel like this with ranked, as I'm going to show you this example right now live on Rage Quit, but I'd be doing this if I got the game The Last of Us and paid over $70.
Before you slam your desk because you just lost that rank game, you have to understand rank does not mean anything.
Nah, listen. It's fucking 4 games in a row. Pulse under hookah. 4! Just... Yeah. I'm done.
I mean, some people have it better than others, I guess, HenricK.
Yeah, he couldn't handle the smoke, I guess,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really funny because a lot of comments were saying, bro, on a console using a mouse and a keyboard, deserved, to be honest. Or one person wrote, Rocket League, guarantee it's Rocket League. I mean, man, like, it's not a hard game. How can people be bad? I mean, swear, like 90% do it on purpose. I mean, it is so freaking true. But we want to also have another laugh with you guys real quickly before we kick off Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And that is what some people feel about dating women in the year of 2023. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Yo, these are some boomer chicks I'm talking about, right? This chick was like, oh, ew, guy play 4-hour video game. You, okay? I played for 3 hours of video game, and then I lost a game, and I had to defend my honor, so I had to keep playing for another 2 more hours, okay? When you're on a losing streak, you gotta keep playing, okay? When a little boy call you a noob, you destroyed that little boy, okay? 1v1 bro. 1v1 in 2K. 1v1 in League of Legends. 1v1 Valorant. I will destroy you, okay? Chicks don't understand this.
Is anybody else really turned on right now?
Yeah. Yeah. What's more manly than defending honor? Nothing, okay?
No,
What's more manly than
right
defending
there.
honor?
He's speaking facts. You can't end on a win on a losing streak. You if the boys and you are playing and you keep losing, you gotta keep playing until you win, even if it's 3 in the morning.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I know people were quick to respond to this viral clip where one person said he's got that dog in him. Sounds like what HenricK is saying. Another person put, nah, bro, is accurate. You can't leave on a losing streak. It's just how it is. To, as a straight male, I'm very turned on right now. So, I mean, hey, listen, that's what gaming does for y'all. But hey, we're excited that you are all joining us right now for Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. We want to hear from you guys. So go ahead, comment live on the show, and your comment can be featured during this live segment. But hey, I think it's time to rock and roll. Are you ready to rage, HenricK?
Let's do it. Let's
rage.
Hey,
let's get it, baby. Let's rage.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Resident Evil 4 Remake. 2023 really is the year of remakes, huh? Resident Evil 4 Remake just came out on March 24th and is already making waves. Despite it being a remake of a game from 2005, the game is still seeing critical acclaim. By now, the game has been re-released countless times. However, this time, the game is updated to be up to par graphically with the likes of Resident Evil 7 and 8. This is the latest Resident Evil game that Capcom has remade when going through the older games from the franchise. The difference being that this is the one that longtime fans of the series have always liked. And it shows, considering over 3 million copies were sold within the first week of release. But is the game any better than it was back in the day? Let's dive into that by first talking about the gameplay. Resident Evil is a survival horror franchise. However, Resident Evil 4 was the turning point for the series, going from full survival horror to action survival horror. The remake sticks with this, of course. Expect to be fighting off lots of Resident Evil style zombies with a full arsenal of weapons at your disposal. The remake does have changes to gameplay. Namely, it changes the controls to modern standards, adds a bit more exploration, and rids the game of some mechanics entirely in favor of more visceral gameplay. All the while, you're still doing that big escort quest, which leads us to talking about the story. The story follows Leon Kennedy in a mission to rescue the president's daughter, Ashley, from a cult that has kidnapped her in rural Spain. The game plays out like a B-horror movie, filled with cheesy lines and sequences that only make sense if you have a suspension of disbelief. Despite this, the story was part of the original game's charm, and the remake doesn't aim to change too much from the original story, maybe to avoid upsetting long-term fans. Through the game's 16 to 20 hours of gameplay, Resident Evil 4 Remake aims to grab a new audience, as well as bring back fans of the original while also subverting some of their expectations. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? Yeah, so Resident Evil 4 Remake, I'm gonna say it right away. This is a definite repeat for me. Like, I don't know about you, Chris, but I think you can't say that this game does not look amazing. And like, I'm a big fan of the original. Resident Evil has always been in my blood, and Resident Evil 4 definitely is a high point of the series. And I love to see that they remade this finally and definitely stayed up to par with the hype that everyone had for it. It's up there with some of the best games that have come out this year. And yeah, I'm excited to see what your thoughts are on this one.
I think you're right, HenricK. I mean, there's a reason why it sold in 48 hours, 3 million copies. And, you know, I'm going to be real with you and all the gamers that are tuning in. I was very late to the game when it came to the Resident Evil series. I mean, I probably started playing them a couple years ago, clearly because of the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3. So when you go ahead and play this game with the updated gameplay mechanics, bet your ass you're gonna love this game. I mean, when I think about Resident Evil 4, I remember that being on the GameCube, but none of my peers were buying Resident Evil 4 at the time because it was infatuated with, I would say, Mario Party or Super Smash or Metroid Prime. So, I mean, yes, I mean, if you are a hardcore survival, zombie kind of game, yeah, you're going to love this one. I mean, there are a few bugs that are driving me nuts, you know, recently. But yes, I would say it's a definite repeat.
No, definitely. Like you said, there was plenty of great games that were out at the same time, but Resident Evil 4, I mean, can't really say that it wasn't a good game from that GameCube era, because it definitely holds its own even today, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean. Yeah, I know a lot of people are calling for Resident Evil 5 to be next. I just hope that this is kind of the end of like all these remakes. Clearly it won't, but as you hearing from HenricK the Wreck and I, it's a repeat. So go ahead and buy yourself you know, the platform today to be able to play Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, but hey, we will be talking about Resident Evil 4 again later on in the show, so stay tuned. But for now, we're going to hop into our next segment. Go ahead and roll the clip.
Right. All right. Rock and roll, guys. Stick with us.
listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes. This is where we talk about industry news, gaming talk, and so much more. So today, we're going to start off with a topic about E3. So E3, the big gaming convention, it actually just got announced the other day that it is canceled. That's right on the heels of the big developers Xbox, Sony, PlayStation, even Ubisoft saying, we're not going to go to E3 anymore. Not this year. Like,
why do you think
goodbye.
That's the case, Henrik?
I think that a lot of it has to do with that whole thing of Activision Blizzard having that whole issue between Sony being like, hey, I don't want you to do this merger, and Nintendo being like, I don't want you to either, but you know what, that's all right, you can do it. I think that's
you
part
really
of
think
it,
that
but I think
E3 is being destroyed because of the jealousy between Sony and Microsoft currently?
Part of it definitely is that. I was having a conversation with my friends also saying, basically, we think E3 is not really that necessary anymore. Like, what has really been
66,000
what has been so
people
exciting about
attended.
E3 in the past few years, Chris?
Before the pandemic even kicked in, 66,000 people attended the E3 event. I think there's a lot of gamers that are clearly upset that this happened. But you think it's not relevant?
I think that there's a lot of other conventions and other shows that the developers put out themselves. Like, Nintendo doesn't even worry about going to other shows at this point. They do their own thing. Xbox does their own thing. PlayStation does their own thing. Like, everything gets announced pretty much before E3, and then E3 is just like the supplement place.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you think it's because, things that have popped up in the ether, like the Game Awards, building more popularity, or do you think it's because of the BAFTA Games Award that we don't really need another expo to kind of hype up the next generation games? Is that what you're kind of telling me?
Well, I mean, it used to be way different in the past. I always think back to the golden eras of E3, like early 2000s, even the 90s, where when you watch E3, you're waiting, super excited, waiting for the games to be announced. My favorite moment is when Twilight Princess got announced. The crowd went wild. Yeah. But you don't have any moments like that anymore in E3 because all the games that have been announced in E3, in the previous ones that were out before the pandemic even, those games, a lot of them were already announced before E3. So there wasn't any of that excitement anymore.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, clearly because, a lot of them are going to be doing more of a digital showcase because of Twitch TV, I would argue, or even, how fast everything drops, on the world of social media. I mean, it reminds me of what our artistic director, Jody, was telling me in private, that he was laughing that he was digging in his garage and he had old magazines of PC Gamer. I mean, that used to be the old destination to go and get your news on gaming. Now you have us. HenricK the Wreck and I. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what's good. I mean, it's unfortunate. I think it's kind of sad, but you're right. I mean, Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation have all recently said they're going to be out on E3. So, I mean, I'm sad. I never got to participate in this event. I've had buddies that were able to do it. So, yeah, E3's gone for now, and it might be gone forever. But, hey, stay tuned. You're going to have to just wait until next year. But, hey, what's launching this week in the world of the cinematic world?
Actually, tomorrow, the Super Mario movie is finally coming out.
That's right.
It's been hyped up for so long at this point, and, whether you hate it or love it, the idea of it is coming out. So we'll have to see what comes out of it being out there.
I like how you started this topic as going, yeah, you might love it or hate it. It already sounds like someone's got a bit of a grudge. But for anybody who hasn't seen an exclusive look of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, we have it here for you.
Destroy the Mushroom Kingdom!
Bowser is coming.
I'm not afraid. I'll do anything for my brother.
We're going to save him.
Yes! Fire!
You asked for it.
This is fun!
Here we
I mean, Chris Pratt's playing Mario, Jack Black's playing Bowser, but it sounds like you have a bit of a grudge how you set up this topic of conversation.
I wouldn't say necessarily a grudge. It's
Oh,
just,
no, don't be real. Be real.
It's just a gripe. You know, different G word. It's my whole gripe is just with Chris Pratt. Honestly, it's a similar contempt that some people have online. Maybe a lot of people. But I
don't even
think
care to even give him a chance. You're just already saying like, nah, that's not the guy.
I'm tired of them being like, we got to put in these Hollywood voice actors. They're not voice actors. And I mean, to be fair, Jack Black, he's doing great. But like,
he gets a hall pass.
Chris Pratt's kind of just like being Chris Pratt.
Well, what about Charlie Day playing Luigi?
Charlie Day is doing great too. I appreciate his performance from what I've seen so far.
Okay, well, you know, we'll have to see what's good. I know there was a very funny April Fool's that was circulated online from IGN, kind of telling people what would happen if these voiceover actors were in some of your favorite video games in the Super Mario world. So let's take a look.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
Oh my god! Where am I? Stick with the flashlight while we got it.
I'm particularly glad that you're not dead. Winning.
It's a good thing I found these mushrooms. I was f***ing starving.
That's f***ing teamwork!
As you can clearly see there. And on a final note, for all the gamers out there, I think the only successful Nintendo show must have been Donkey Kong Country. If you were like me that came out in 1997, I feel like, you know, looking back at this now, man, those graphics are horrible. But I think the reason why it worked in my world as a kid, because they looked exactly like the Nintendo 64. I think that's the only reason why Donkey Kong Country was so successful. But then again, it only had 2 seasons. But we're gonna
you also have that like nostalgia, you know, glasses or like whatever you want to call the version of that when you're a kid, you know.
Yeah. Very edgy.
Yeah.
But we're gonna kind of stick in the world of Nintendo right now because I didn't even know that this is even a thing. There's a group called the Video Game History Foundation, and they have raised concerns over the recent closure of some of Nintendo's digital storefronts. This is something that HenricK and I brought up a couple weeks ago right here on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, which we're actually going to be sharing that same viral clip again for anybody that missed out on previous episodes. But there's a guy named The Completionist, and he spent over $22,000 to buy every single game deleted from the Nintendo eShop. So we're going to go ahead and play that clip right now.
Every Nintendo 3DS and Wii U game on the eShop. That's 866 Wii U games and 1,547 3DS games, including DSiWare, Virtual Console games, and DLC, equating to 1.2 terabytes on the Nintendo Wii U and 267 gigabytes, or 2,136,689 blocks on the Nintendo 3DS. That's right, this thing measures in blocks. And this whole ordeal took 328 days, required 464 eShop cards, and cost $22,791.
I mean, it's so insane. So like HenricK, we were kind of talking, you know, behind the scenes, but share with the listening audience about how you feel is the only way where you can kind of preserve the lifetime of these games in the future.
I mean, this is a move that always kind of edges gamers into the direction of emulation, because so many of these games are never going to be released again. Like, so many of the games, they could easily, in the case of Nintendo, for example, you have a Nintendo Switch, you have an eShop on the Nintendo Switch, you could easily re-release those games on that eShop for people to play, but they just said, nope, for whatever reason, they said, we're not going to do that. Maybe it's a legal reason, I'm not sure, but at least in my opinion, that's going to make it so in the future, if you want to play a game that's not on the eShop, you're going to have to emulate it. And I know Nintendo doesn't want you to do that, but that's what you're end up having to do if you want to play those games.
And for the gamers and non-gamers who have no idea what the terminology of emulation is, could you explain how that works?
Yeah, so essentially people reverse engineer how these games are played on these systems so that you can play it on, some games you could play on your phone if you have an app for it. Some you'd have to have a
The
computer for,
jailbreak
but
days.
yeah, exactly. But a lot of times some games won't work exactly the way until they figure out exactly how to make things play like it used to, like graphical glitches and things like that.
Sure.
But I mean, like the fact that that has to even be a thing in the first place is just, I think, frustrating because these games,
Yeah.
they should be accessible and they're just not.
No, I definitely hear you. I mean, I think the thing that people do have to realize is we are preserving games. I mean, even before we even jumped on live, the U.S. Library of Congress, believe it or not, stores over 3,000 plus video games. But clearly, I couldn't tell you whether they're physical or digital. I'm going to assume that the majority of them are physical copies. So as we start transitioning into cloud gaming and, people don't really want to pay $75 for a video game anymore, HenricK. So, yeah, clearly this is going to be a solution that's going to have to be handled quickly, but I think you're onto it. I think there is a bit of legal issues that have to be kind of spelled out along the way. But hey, let's go ahead and talk about more AI drama news, because every day it feels like there's a new AI app or there's a new use that needs to be acknowledged as, the future of art and design is pretty much being promised as being a speedy workflow. And so as we have a tweet that I'm going to go ahead and showcase live on air. And this is from a guy who is a video game director and a freelance artist whose name is Trent. And he counts his work with Blizzard, Riot Games, Capcom, and Epic Games as his clients when you go on his LinkedIn profile. And what he's saying is AI art is now banned by many major game developer studios due to, quote, possible legal copyright issues. Many old clients are amending contracts recently to end the use of AI art. This goes in line with what I'd predicted in several of my first videos on the subject. So yeah, I mean, the big question is, can a ban on art be maintained, HenricK?
I think that it's going to be a matter of developing tools and resources to detect AI art, because a lot of times it could be a little difficult. I mean, some of it's a little obvious when, like the hand is wrong or, there's like an extra eyeball or something. But if you're an artist and you're looking out for those things, like you could probably just, say, okay, make this AI art as a base and then let me just tweak it a little bit. So I understand why they say no, let's not do this.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you can find ways where like AI technology could work. Like, for example, if you had like your own internal assets, then you wanted to utilize AI so it could like speed up the process, then I could see it working. I think, with Fortnite's Creative 2.0 releasing, I think this has kind of helped the process of like trying to protect your ass as a gaming developer, because I already know Activision Blizzard has already sent a DMCA to Epic Games saying like, hey, anything that looks like a Call of Duty map, you guys need to remove that immediately. And I know there's been a lot of chatter online saying, well, hey, how is a level design an asset? That can't be a thing. Come on, my guy. Like, they're not literally talking about a folding chair. But if you literally are resembling what the game Rust is, that is a problem. And you know what's really wild, HenricK, is we literally, you came on the Chris Collins show, Millennial Talk Show. We brought on Ubisoft's Dan Mitri, and you brought up how you felt like AI could be utilized in NPC. And I am shocked that Dan Mitri kept his mouth closed so tight, because the funny thing is, you were already on top of it, and we have a clip of it. Ubisoft has actually developed their own AI tool that has its own division in their offices, and the thing is called Ghostwriter. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Ghostwriter is an in-house AI tool created by Ubisoft La Forge. It helps narrative designers and scriptwriters generate a first draft of these barks. Scriptwriters first create a character and a variable input, an event or situation for a character to experience. Ghostwriter can then generate new versions of the line depending on the mode selected. These modes vary in style depending on the needs of the scriptwriter. The scriptwriter selects the lines to keep and edits them freely until they're ready for voice recording. When scriptwriters accept or regenerate line options, the machine learning model learns from each selection.
So, yeah, it's definitely very trippy, but, you know, a lot of the initial reactions gamers were met with confusion, and one of the first people to react to it was actually, and let's go ahead and take down the caption real quickly, but it was from Cory Barlog, who is the game director for God of War, and you can clearly see he put this gif going like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Then we got Sony Santa Monica writers going, as a writer, having to edit AI-generated scripts and dialogue sounds far more time-consuming than just writing my own temp lines. I mean, I would far prefer AAA studios use whatever budget it costs to make tools like this to instead hire more writers. And I know a lot of people like Ubisoft claim that, you know, when you play these big open world games like Horizon Forbidden West, there's over 100,000 lines of dialogue. But then again, Henrik, there are games out there today, which there is a developer called Cute Pen Games who claim that they made this puzzle game called This Girl Does Not Exist, from the art, the story, and the music, all AI generated. So let's go ahead and take a look. Pretty trippy. So
Yeah,
I guess we'll see what happens, Henrik.
I mean, I called it saying, you know, hey, they're going to use this for NPC dialogue and things like that. And, you know, I do agree with that tweet from Alana Pierce, though, where she's saying that she wishes that they put that budget towards just hiring more writers, because I think that would definitely be the better option rather than rely on some AI to write some dialogue and then have to have another writer even then still come in and, you know, tweak things and make it polished. I mean, I'm sure it's going to save them money to use AI rather than hire another person, but come on, like,
I mean, that's the biggest
breaking
thing.
creative boundaries.
Yeah, the biggest concern, you know, AI, will it take away human jobs? And I mean, it's definitely a real thing. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens when it comes to the world of AI, because I'm already hearing chatter that at the Cal State level, they're already starting to notice a lot of students who are using GPT-4 to write their thesis, write their papers, and, you know, some universities are even contemplating whether they'll even allow students to do it. So my thing is, I don't know about you, Henrik, but have you ever been into like a, you know, a university where you had to take a math course and you get like someone with a thick accent and they're teaching math and they won't let you use a calculator? Well, like, really? Like, everybody in the world uses a calculator as a tool. So if AI is going to be embraced, we might as well just enhance it and use it while we can. But you know what? We started to run out of time. We wanted to talk about Lily Gao. She got a lot of crap on Resident Evil 4. What do you want to say about that real quickly, Henrik?
I mean, I think it sucks because, like, I know a lot of gamers have really negative reactions to changes in their favorite video games, but, like, you don't have to go out and bully an actor or actress about their performance in a game. They're not the one who wrote the lines. They didn't write the script. And now this person, Lily Gao, who voices Ada Wong in the new Resident Evil 4 remake, she deactivated her Twitter. She just said, nope, I'm not dealing with the hate anymore. I'm out.
No, I know. It's very unfortunate. And, you know, obviously, it is a proven statistic that anybody that goes on social media doesn't necessarily go to post something positive. They go to post something that is hateful. I mean, why do you think that there are apps called Yelp that are so successful? But hey, we want to thank everybody that tuned in live to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And make sure you subscribe and hit the like button and hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show. And HenricK the Wreck, where can they check you out where they can see all kinds of gaming news?
Yeah, so if you go to chriscollinsshow.com, there is a page just for me and my content. You can find me there, but I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and I post videos and memes and things like that all on those social medias.
That's right, baby. And also, I want to let you guys know I got a music podcast called Off the Fret, More Music Talk, featuring Nashville country star Amanda Cooksey, out now on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And join me live for the Chris Collins Show Millennial Talk Show every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you got to be following my social media to know who this week's guest is. So take a look out. You know, we're going to be posting it real soon. But for now, enjoy this week, and we will see you next Tuesday. Peace.
See ya.